Greg says there's a big Verizon outage on the east coast of the USA as opposed to the Verizon outage on the east coast of Mali. Zimbabwe.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's why I don't use Verizon.
Yeah. I'm one of those T-Mobile dummies. I've had them for like a decade. I just can't leave them.
I wish I could quit you, T-Mobile.
I don't even wish I could quit. I just wish, I don't know. I just wish I felt like as a T-Mobile customer for over a decade that I was treated like a T-Mobile customer for over a decade. That would be nice. Instead, I just keep getting like uncarriered into like this bin of people with no credit.
So you want someone to come to your place and just smack you straight in the nuts and then walk away?
I want like platinum customer treatment. Like, how long do I have to be?
Thank you very much for being a customer for all these years. Wham!
Yeah, well, maybe not an uppercut to my Ghiblies, but you know, thank you now and then. You know, maybe just like a phone number so I can get right to the call center in like Texas or something, or Arizona, instead of having to go through like 7 different parts of Siberia.
You know, in communist Russia, Siberia comes to you.
I don't know what that means. I don't believe in communism, so I don't know what that means, Richie. I'm sorry.
You don't believe communism as a concept, or you just don't believe it exists at all? Are you like a flat earther type person?
No, I realize that the Earth is round, and there are several people that I would like to kick off it. Just blast them right out.
Let me show you the concept of gravity.
Exactly. I would love to introduce gravity to some people. Well, at least or the opposing force, throttle or thrust or whatever it is, gets people.
I'm just disappointed. I see this task right here, and I see that 2 people have left, and I want to know, what did I do to offend you for you to leave me?
I don't know. It was probably something I said about communism. That instead.
They were probably flat earthers. That's probably what they were.
You know, flat earthers or just some real partisans came in here and expected us to give them a big old pinko hug.
Oh, jeez. Oh, and there's
I don't have any of those. Yeah, get out, all of you. Oh, they're dropping like flies now. Sorry about that.
Bloop, bloop, bloop. We'll miss you. We'll miss you.
I don't know. Maybe they're in a country where as soon as certain words get flagged on a webcast, they drop your internet connection. I don't know.
Thank you, NSA. We love you.
Well, I don't think that would happen in America. All right, it's 12:16 now. Uh-oh, minute late, so we might have to go a minute over to answer all you people's questions. Let's just start with the top here. Oh, this is a fun question. This might seem backwards, but is it possible to performance tune a statistics update with full scan?
No.
What's even kind of crappy about that statistics update is I don't even think there's like a sort and temp DB option like there is for indexes. So you're just stuck doing all that work, right?
The only thing that I would add, do you actually need to do a full scan? On the systems that I've supported, the number of rows directly pertains to what sampling you might need. As the table gets bigger, you might even get away with a 10%. I've even done 1% sampling on tables that were, say, 100 million rows or over.
So what I would say is, rather than try to have a giant full scan on full tables worth of statistics, I would try creating some filtered statistics on the values that you're interested in. Perhaps if there's a certain range of predicates that has an abnormal skew in your data, I would try creating a filtered, or maybe a few different filtered statistics on the skewed data to see if that helps at all. Because that way, if you do have to update that particular statistic with a full scan, you're dealing with a smaller amount of data or something like that. Something reasonable, right? That had a reasonable assumption. Smaller amount of data than the entire table. Who knows though? Who knows? Let's see here. We have a question about upgrading. In-place upgrades. Heaven forfend. When upgrading SQL 2012 to 2014, will in-place upgrading upgrade the reporting databases as well? Yeah, I don't think they get left behind.
No, yeah, they're part of the upgrade, but you need to also take care of reporting services. make sure that the version that you're running there is going to work once these databases do get upgraded. I don't even like having report server databases on my production instance. I want it on a separate instance, away from my OLTP stuff. Yeah, maybe even it'll have a lesser licensed server. And I don't even like in-place upgrades. You forget that. So like, for production, heck no.
So let's answer your question with a list of stuff Tara doesn't like. In-place upgrades, reporting databases on the same server, and even reporting services as a service on the same server.
Oh heck no, yeah, that never goes on my server. I might host the RS databases, but definitely not the service.
So list of things for you to do this weekend: move all your stuff to a different server, then do your upgrade, but not in place.
No.
And when I say in place, I mean the actual that upgrade wizard where you lose your instance. The entire instance is upgraded. Now, if this is like newer hardware, or maybe you just can't get new hardware, and you want to just install a new instance side by side on the same server, I've done that for sure. You don't, your side by side upgrade does not have to be on another server. But in the world, in the days with virtual machines, everyone's running virtual machines these days. What's the big deal about setting up a new VM temporarily?
Yeah. So to recap, don't do in-place upgrades. Don't keep your reporting service database on the same server, and don't keep reporting services as a service on the same server. You're going to want to separate that stuff out and not break your entire server and reporting.
And run everything in the cloud. He forgot that one.
There you go.
It's not your money. Why not?
It's not your server either.
No, it's true. Well, you never know. It might be. Might have branded it. John asks, I read on a blog post by Greg Lowe that row compression is recommended over none across the board. Would you agree with this, or in other words, when would none compression be good?
None compression, that's just disabled, right? That just means it's disabled, right? That's the default.
Well, you squished your nuns down so they all fit.
I like compression. I did extensive testing on compression, and we use that one script that's out there on on the internet somewhere that it can test whether or not if you should do page versus row compression on each index, and so maybe you don't only have row compressed indexes, you also do page. But anyways, I liked it for performance. I liked it for storage. I didn't experience, that much higher CPU utilization. I wasn't running, I didn't have servers that were bottlenecked. And honestly, I think I'd probably move forward with it, out the door, the new databases, I'd enable it. The only issue recently is I had a client that Enterprise Edition, and that was the only Enterprise Edition feature they were using. And they had a server with tons and tons of cores, and it's really expensive to license Enterprise Edition. So this is an Enterprise Edition feature, so be sure that those licenses are expensive.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, like the only time I would say don't compress, or like why I wouldn't just have it as the default, is because not everything compresses well.
Yeah, that's true.
So it doesn't do you any good to turn it on and then not have it actually compress anything. Then this is kind of a waste. But like Tara said, there are scripts out there that can estimate compression. There's you can run that SP estimate compression store procedure on all your tables, and figure out which ones and which indexes would benefit most from that. The other thing to be a little bit careful of is if you have a really high stress OLTP workload, sometimes I've found compression can bog down, modifications and stuff. But selects and everything run really great. All right. Mike asks, I have intermittent deadlocks occurring on a SQL Server 2012 database that I'm not able to reproduce and test. What is the performance impact of enabling the relevant trace flags and leaving them on to log the deadlock info to SQL until I've got a few examples of it to analyze?
There's no performance concern with enabling those trace flags. Some people just enable it for all new installations that they do. It's fine. It just clogs up the error log, and it's really hard to read that information in the error log anyway. But at least you have it. Reproducing it in the test environment is hard because you're not simulating the load, and it's the production load that causes it. Blocking in a system's normal, and the longer those blocks last, the more likelihood of having deadlocks occur. And your production hardware is probably better, and the load's probably a lot higher. But yeah, the trace flags are fine in the error log.
Yeah. So turning on those trace flags is fine. and that you can get error log information from that. But you're on 2012, and extended events are a much better thing than they are on at least 2008 R2 and 2008. So on 2012 and going back further, but at least on 2012, you do have the system health extended event running constantly, which will have some of your deadlocks in there. It's not going to have all of them because I believe it hangs out in the buffer ring. So it's not going to have all of your deadlocks going back historically, but you could probably find some recent ones in there. I'm sure if you Google around for system health session deadlocks, you can find there's a script out there from a Microsoft guy that does a pretty good job of parsing things. You could also set up, a dedicated extended event session to, run and sample and collect deadlocks, because that'll only fire off when deadlocks are actually happening. So there's not a lot of overhead to just having it on waiting for a deadlock to occur. And you get like the XML, and you get the picture graph where it's much easier to decipher exactly what deadlocked and why. So the trace flags are fine, and there's no overhead to dumping stuff in the error log. But I think since you're on a slightly more modern version of SQL Server, you do have some better options available to you. All right, let's see here. Oh, I went down too far. I scrolled too far. I'm sorry. Oh my, this is quite a question. Hang on, let me. I have to pre-read this, so you two should talk about something.
No.
Darlene,
Darlene. Dead air, baby. Dead air.
Wow, you guys. Darlene, post that on dba.stackexchange.com. That's way too little information to figure out what's going on with your view. We would need to see some more stuff than that. Gordon.
And here's a little hint about dba.stackexchange.com. We see it. We kind of see everything that kind of goes through there. Like all of us are trolling on it. So there's a good chance that one of us may actually answer your questions if you put it on there. So if you don't pay attention to dba.stackexchange.com, don't worry, because we do. So
Eric gets all the cool query questions. I take the AG questions.
Yeah, we put things up pretty fairly. No turf wars with that.
I just wish you wouldn't go in our Slack general.
Well, we could have a separate channel for stack questions.
Yeah,
Slack channel for stack questions.
We wouldn't pay attention to it as much if it was a separate channel.
Yeah,
I would.
It's fine where it is, but I just
I'm horrible. As soon as I see that little green dot go up over the hash sign, I'm like, oh, who said what? Who's in Slack? Geez, Gordon asks an interesting question. Query filter where ID is not null and code not equal to 0 results in residual predicate for the code not equal to 0 part of the filter, even though code is an included column of the index where ID is a key column. Why the residual predicate? Well, because it's a range. You're going to have a residual predicate there anyway. You can only seek on one predicate at a time. If you look at any query that has multiple predicates, you can see seek keys and then residuals. So also non-key columns can't be seek keys because the index isn't ordered by them. There's no interesting sorting or anything by non-key columns. Included columns just hanging out at the very leaf level of the index, the very bottom level of the index tree, pyramid, whatever, however you want to call it. And the data lives there, but there's no statistics, and there's no ordering, and there's no particularly good information about them. It just kind of hangs out there waiting for a select. So if you wanted to potentially get seek on multiple there, you could promote it to a key column, but or make it a filtered index.
What I think is funny is that you had leaf level as the bottom level, and then some people we know put the leaves on top because the trees on top.
I always picture at the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, because that's where all the documentation goes, right? Your documentation goes, you start here, and then you branch off into the leaves at the bottom. But
I know it's fundamentally
the leaves are at the top.
Yeah, I know. I know it's fundamentally wrong, and just like it's a concept. When I explained it at the bottom, it's wrong, but I just can't. It's hard for me to be like, oh, the root of the index is down here, and then we add stuff up here. Get away from me. That's where mosquitoes come from. I don't want that. Chiranjeevi, I don't know.
Yeah.
No idea what you're asking me.
You're gonna have
Sorry
to Google
about
for that, I think.
Yeah. He's asking if we can apply SP3 and SE to SQL Server 2008 R2 of an instance host SharePoint 2000. I have no idea how SharePoint 2007 interacts with SQL. I don't know. Upgrade SharePoint. I use it on 2007. That's how old is that now? 10 years? Is that 10 years old?
Yeah.
That's 10 years old. You have a
Explain to me
10-year-old
this
kid.
SharePoint thing. I don't understand it at all.
Yeah. All right.
Where documents go to die. SharePoint.
Okay, so Colton asks a funny question about index maintenance. I'm sorry, Colton. I don't know if that's a male or female name, so I'm gonna they you. They ask, we recently adjusted our index maintenance to only rebuild on weekends and update stats during the week. This improved our nightly jobs from 5 to 6 hours to 2.5 to 3 hours. If stats only helps choose the maintenance plan, does this imply we just had really bad execution plans? I'm trying to understand the reason behind the huge performance increase. So you're talking about the performance, like your maintenance plans not running?
I think that he meant to say execution plan right there. So,
oh,
they
okay.
had nightly jobs. You just maybe purging data. Who knows what that were taking 5 to 6 hours. Now they're 2.5 to 3 hours. Yeah, maybe out of date statistics. Maybe bad execution plans.
Yeah, it could be all sorts of stuff in there. Tara's got that one. Could be either one of those things. So there you go. There you have it. I don't even have to say anything now. Kyle. Kyle asks, says we plan on replacing Idera SQL Safe with Redgate SQL Backup. Are there any horror stories? Do you have any tips from past with replacing SQL backup vendors? God,
I haven't used Redgate SQL Backup since SQL Server 2005. Ever since compression got put into the engine. I know that those tools offer additional features. The better log shipping, better GUI, better historical information, all sorts of better stuff. But I didn't need those features. I just cared about compression, backup compression. So I ditched them.
Yeah, I mean, God, I wish I could say that I had replaced the backup product at my last job because I hated it. I'm not gonna say what it was. I didn't say anything, but I wish I could say that we had replaced it. But whew, rough.
We only use the Commvault to copy our files, our SQL Server backup files, copy them to the cloud.
Yeah. Redgate, I'm sure it's fine. I don't know of any misaligned abilities between the two, so I'm sure it'll be all right. Just make sure that you can restore your old backups with a new tool, I guess. Let's see, Guillermo, who left. That's okay. I'm still going to ask the question. I'm still going to put the question out there, but he left.
What's up, G? What's going down, man? Come on now. You used to love me.
On us. Yeah. What's going on, fella? If any, what has been your experience with clients implementing always encrypted in SQL Server 2016? I ain't seen it.
I've only had one client that was using SQL 2016 so far, and no
one has wanted to talk to us about always encrypted yet. So sorry about that. If you're reading this later in the transcription or watching the video, sorry, no one.
Most of our clients are on 2008 R2 and 2012, I'd say.
Yeah, that's pretty common numbers. Kevin asks, in SQL Server 2008 R2, could a person's DB owner access to a database suddenly disappear? Bad news, Kevin, you've been fired.
You've got a DBA or sysadmin messing with you.
Yeah.
Unless you're running into some weird bug, but I've never heard of a bug like that. But somebody's removed your access.
If Kevin leaves early, we know he's got called into HR.
Yeah, you need to go talk to your boss like right now.
Like, hey man, I was watching this webinar and they told me I got fired. I was working hard and let's see here. Graham asks a kind of interesting question. Our infrastructure team is evaluating Veeam as a replication and backup solution. They want me to evaluate its SQL backup capabilities. Well, the product is fancy. It essentially appears to be another GUI for backups. What are your thoughts on third-party backup providers?
I've been at
Not
these
necessarily Veeam, but just in general.
I've been at these large organizations that every now and then they have these brilliant ideas to test out this new backup solution, and we've tested out all sorts of them. And the answer always comes down to from I'm a SQL Server DBA. I want SQL Server backups. When I need to do a restore, I want to be able to have access to those files immediately and start that restore. If it's on tape or if it's some tool I'm not familiar with, it's going to take me longer to do my job. And restore in production is going to be critical. Veeam. I'm fine with using these third-party tools after the SQL Server backup file is created. Then use those tools to copy the files. Have those copy the Windows files, not the actual SQL Server backups.
Yeah, so well, I'm totally with Tara on the SQL native backups. Those really are, unless you have massive terabyte plus databases where SAN snapshots make way more sense. SQL native backups are still the bee's knees. And when people are trying out these backup tools, I don't think that the backup capabilities should be what they judge. I think the restore capability should be what they judge. And a lot of them have really cool stuff with, the log reader or object level restore, other things like that. So, while they may be perfectly capable of taking a backup, what I want to know is how they restore that backup. And I want to know if I can restore that backup if that tool isn't available. One major gripe that I've had with a prior backup tool that will still remain nameless by me is that when it takes a backup, it creates a temporary backup device, which is a GUID. So all of my backup log would say backed up to device equals some GUID. And I couldn't script a restore from that because it destroyed those devices after it was finished. So so when it went to restore stuff, it had to do some internal proprietary process. And one time that tool, the server that tool was on, went down. No fault of mine because I wasn't the admin on that server, but that server went down and someone needed to restore. And I said, sorry, can't restore that for you. So, one thing that you do want to make sure of is that you can restore without that tool and, other things, and if that tool offers anything else as far as restores go. So there's my blabbering answer on that. Let's see. Does an unused database, Chris asks, does an unused database add any noticeable load to a server?
No.
No, thankfully. I guess could make you run out of disk space a little faster if it's big, but aside from that, I don't think it's going to do it. Yeah, if you're running CheckDB or other maintenance on it, then sure, it's going to suck up some space.
But then it's used, right?
Yeah.
Then it's used, not necessarily by people, but
even if it has pages in memory, then it's being used.
That's
for
true.
Some reason.
That is true. So I would temper your definition of unused a little bit. Unused by people, or is it unused period? If it's unused period, make it read only, something like that. Drop it. Just drop it for fun.
Drop it like it's hot.
You can take Graham's job with this, or you can take Kevin's job with this loss as DB owner access.
Don't be hard, man. Come on now. Our people.
I'm just messing with them. Let's see here. Oh boy. Tom says he went through an exercise where we needed to map out and duplicate various logins and user rights using Management Studio was tedious to say the least, as each DB security had to be mapped one at a time. What's up with that? This is why you learn how to script stuff, Tom. Tom, my friend. This is why scripting is your friend. This is why the GUI is not your friend. There's a lot of right-clicking involved in that GUI. But I'll give you one tip with the GUI, something that not many people know about. So when you click on certain node items in the GUI, if you go up to the View menu in Management Studio, you can look down a couple notches and click on View Object Explorer Details. And that will often bring up a new pane in Management Studio where you can highlight multiple items, right-click and script them. So give that a shot next time you need to script out a whole bunch of stuff. I know it works for agent jobs and other things like that, and like indexes and whatever. So maybe it'll work for you in this case.
Hey, if I could use scripting for things like backups and restores, then you could do it for logins, man.
If Richie can do it, anyone can do it. I think that's the message.
DBA. Oye, man. That's what I got.
Ooh, boy. Ron asks a good ETL question. Ooh, Richie. We should thank him for this. We should put some maple syrup on this question. It's delicious.
The answer is Python. The answer is Python.
He's right. I have a 2 gigabyte text file that is fixed length without row terminators and no way to get the source changed. How can I import this file into a table?
Ooh. Without row terminators?
Yeah, I don't even understand the format then.
Well,
if without a row terminator, it's just going to be row after row all together in one row.
Is it a government file? That's be my question, because I've seen some crappy government file stuff, but you've always had your /n or your /t/n type stuff, right?
Yeah, or /n/r.
I've got a new row. So is this, I need to read every character at that point, and then after 50 characters, I have a new row? I mean, if that's the thing, and if that is the thing, then I'm probably going to script that out using PowerShell or some C# or something, so I could get it into a format that's a little easier to kind of read. You kind of do that pre-processing step, because you don't want to work your ETL process around that type of thing. It's kind of dirty. So normalize the format. Even if you want to chunk it out into smaller 1 meg files or something that's a little more digestible through your ETL, go ahead and do that too. But that's what I would do. I'd change it up a little bit.
Yeah, I used to work for a market research company, and I used to get horrible data from 10 different sources that had to get munged together into one table and cleaned and all sorts of other stuff. So my best advice is to learn a language that allows you to manipulate text files well, so that you can clean them before trying to load them. There's some stuff that is not good to do in SQL, and there is some stuff, no matter how awesome your bulk insert foo is with format files, that you just can't get around. There's all sorts of situations with like ragged left and ragged right and ragged all around.
And he came back and said it's government data. It's postal service data. So yeah, how do I know this? I don't know. I feel your pain, Ron. You and me, we're blood brothers now. We felt the same pain. You got to do that little bit of pre-processing. Get your own format, and then start processing kind of in a sane manner, as opposed to some of the insane ways our government data is in.
Yeah, so just off top of my head advice, I would open it up in a text editor or in a hex editor or some other text editor that shows you the character mappings for everything, so that if you can see what's actually at the end of a line, because there might be just some weird character at the end of a line that you could do like a quick regex replace with a row terminator that's readable by SQL or something else. If it is truly fixed width and every line is the same length, then you could fairly easily write a regex thing that just, every X characters you insert this character. So that would be my advice on that. I'm sorry, I detoured for a little while on that. It's been so long since there was like a funny ETL question that I could answer. I was like, I used to do this crap. It's horrible. I'm sorry.
Listen, Eric, if you use regex as your solution, you now have 2 problems. Okay? Just remember that.
I enjoyed the regex challenge. I wouldn't say that I was good at it or that I passed with flying colors, but I enjoyed the challenge of writing regex. I thought it was fun to see it work.
And ladies and gentlemen, every time his regex failed, he got a new tattoo. That's how that works.
I actually just got a line and a tattoo.
And they all just kind of blended together. You see how that works?
It's pretty sad, actually. Actually, all my tattoos cover up regex code that I was trying to remember. It's like, oh, yes, look back and look forward. All right. Karen is asking, if we will be at Past Summit this year, and do you know if there are any sessions related to SQL Azure? They have no session list workshop details on their website. Well, they haven't, I don't think I'm not sure if they even had the call for speakers yet, but
Yeah.
you can bet your bottom dollar Microsoft's going to be shoving Azure at you.
It's going to be months before you see the schedule go up there. I mean, September maybe. I mean, yeah, we don't even know who the speakers are.
Listen, there will be so much Azure stuff that you couldn't walk anywhere without
Yes.
running into an Azure section. So don't worry about the Azure stuff. It will probably be there.
Who's going? Are you going, Eric?
Yeah, I'm going, but only because I'm bringing everyone with me. So
gotcha.
I don't have to miss the Halloween thing, which is just incredibly rude of them.
Yes.
So what about you, Tara? Are you going?
I am absolutely not going, and I'm protesting actually. Having it over Halloween it's just not fair to the. I mean, so many people that are DBAs and developers are all a lot of them are parents with kids that are under, say, 13. That Halloween's a big deal. It's fun. You get pictures, and that's a moment that you don't want to miss. So no, I am not going.
I'm considering it. I don't know. I'm back and forth depending on the day. So we'll see.
Well, if Richie doesn't go, he loses like some board game title. So I don't know.
Well, no, like half the people I play with aren't going to go either. So
true.
That's kind of the way that works. So you got to think that they must have had saved a ton just on the location because of the week. Yeah. And they're like, oh no, DBAs, we're gung ho, we'll go through anything, and that's just.
You're also going to lose a ton on all the people not showing up because you start your session on Halloween, and no one wants to see anyone from Microsoft in a sexy nurse outfit. See Connor Cunningham in a sexy nurse outfit.
Well,
not going to work.
Talk to me more about Argenis again.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
You have my interest now, sir. You have my interest.
Oh God, it's 12:45, but we started a little late, so I'm going to ask one more question if I can find a good one.
Por favor.
Anna's questions.
And I
like Anna's question.
Oh, go ahead then. You ask that one.
Do you believe database mail should be used by user applications to send their emails? And no, absolutely not. Applications have access to so much better tools than database mail. Just because a feature exists in SQL Server doesn't mean you should use it for the application. Database mail is for DBA systems to get alerts. It's for to do things within SQL Server, not for the application.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great services out there that utilize email really, really well. I mean, the SES in Amazon is great, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff out there that handles emails so much better than freaking SQL Server.
Yeah, just because you can, you should.
don't spend thousands of dollars per core on an email server. That's goofy. All right, we're gonna end on that high note. So thank you all for showing up. We'll see you next week. Maybe Brent will be there. I don't know.
Maybe.
We'll see. All right. Thank you guys. Catch you later.